Welcome, my evil doppelgangers, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we are back. We took a week off because we both went to Disney. We hope you enjoyed our Beverly video, by the way. That was a lot of fun. Very nice, Mike. I almost wore that same shirt tonight because I have the same shirt. Autumn got it for me for Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was funny because one of our friends was out late last year during the beginning of the 50th anniversary celebration, and Autumn reached out to her and like, hey, can you get me that shirt for Andy for Christmas? And she's like, yeah, sure. So pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, we hope you enjoyed our Beverly video. We have a few other short videos which we will release at some point soon. I've just been lazy on this channel, but we are back to resume our look at James Bond, by our unanimous decision for the worst of the Sean Connery James Bond movies, 1971's Diamonds Are Forever, Forever.
The worst and the last of the Sean Connery. Well, as long as you don't pick.
Of the official, God, we actually have to say that. So yeah, Diamonds Are Forever, the worst. Where do you want to begin with why this one is so terrible?
Well, they replaced the beautiful bald-headed Donald Pleasance first with the bald-headed Telly Savalas.
Yep.
And now with the fully haired Charles. It's just a step to the right. Gray.
Yeah, that was a very bizarre.
You couldn't even get someone that looked the same. You had to completely redo him.
It was, you know what? The funny thing is, it's almost like you could have used Charles Gray, but I don't get the thing with the hair. I really don't, because Blofeld has been established as being bald in the last two movies.
Yeah. And
then, he's got a full head of hair now. Not only that, but all his doubles have hair too, because okay.
Yeah. And he's got lots of doubles.
God, that was silly.
Yeah. Among the many things about this movie that are silly.
Oh my God. This movie was like, and I was texting you while I'm watching it going, the stupid just keeps on coming. And this movie is interminably long.
Yeah.
And it keeps
really
getting
drags.
dumber. It drags and it keeps getting dumber as we go.
Yeah.
It would. Let's just start off with Blofeld, because Ernst Blofeld is one of the most iconic Bond villains of all time.
Yeah.
This was, I don't know what this was, because it just was very silly, very.
I'm going to use diamonds to make a laser that destroys nuclear weapons.
Yes, so you can. So your country can be a nuclear power, and then I can do things like have some guy be lit on fire and run. Because a weird effect.
Yeah.
When he was setting alight the Chinese nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Or as they called it, Red China.
Yeah, it was the racism in this movie is on top point.
Oh, it is. It is. Yes, exactly. It is.
Maybe not as bad as You Only Live Twice.
Yeah, but this one,
it's getting close.
Oh boy. Well, it's problematic in a number of ways. So, you brought up a very interesting observation that you texted me earlier. You want to tell our audience what that is?
Yeah. When Tiffany Chase, played by Jill St. John, is trying to get away from the CIA agents, she goes into this kind of sideshow act where they have a woman turning into a gorilla. And that woman just happens to be black. Shock and surprise. Really?
Have you tried diet racism? All the racism with less calories.
Yeah.
That was really tough. The other problematic thing here too is that, and I actually, after watching the movie, I watched a little thing that kind of covered some of the ups and downs of this movie
Mm.
was that this was one of the first representations of threatening gay characters, but not in like that kind of like, you know, sinister urge, you know, just sexual predator type of
Right.
way that I feel like gays have been presented before. They had their own way about things, the way that they would finish each other's sentences. Oh, that's so cute. And then it occurred to me as I'm watching this movie, like watching Mr. Kid and thinking, there isn't a gay man alive that would allow himself to look like that. He looks like an incel walrus.
Yeah, you call them an incel walrus. I call them the love child of Rob Reiner and Wilfred Brimley.
Oh God, it's just like, I mean, I understand he was he's still alive.
Oh,
The actor who played Mr. Kid was a musician. I think he was a bass player.
yeah,
And
he's
he
a
played
very,
with
very good
Thelonious
one,
Monk. Who, you know, if you're a fan of jazz piano, I actually have some Thelonious Monk on vinyl because I just love Thelonious Monk so much. But yeah, no, he's a very talented musician. But the weird thing is like he had like that long kind of like the Cousin Oliver hair,
Yeah,
with like that sad walrus mustache. But the way he went bald was, in my opinion, the worst way to go bald, where it just like there is still like the line of demarcation here, like at the top of your forehead, and it's long. It's kind of like long, and it's just again, I don't know a single gay person that would allow themselves to do that.
and,
The
and
Mr.
before and before anyone says, "Oh, maybe they weren't gay," just take a look at the look that Mr. Wint gives Mr. Kid, and when Mr. Kid comments on how attractive Tiffany looks.
For a woman.
Yeah, he says for a woman. That look is like, okay, you say one more word, you're sleeping on the couch tonight.
Seriously. Now, interestingly enough, Mr. Wint is the father of Crispin Glover.
I can tell.
Yeah. Oh, very much. And he had more of the look of the well-to-do, closeted gay of the late 60s, early 70s. Complete with his necklace, which he eventually would try to use as a garrote later on.
Yeah.
Their demise was some of the most offensive things I think I've ever seen in a Bond movie. And that is, so first of all, Mr. Kid with his two flaming skewers, he's just kind of like lumbering. He's kind of like a really shitty 1950s movie monster.
Yeah.
The thing with the flaming skewers. And then the whole thing with the bomb essentially going up Mr. Kid's butt. Not really, but the look that look was probably the most offensive part of their characters when he like and the little smile, and I'm like, oh God, I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed right now.
And then Bond's quip, he went with his tail between his legs.
Oh God, it was rough. The villains in this movie, there are two things in this movie that, well, three, four. They're dragging this movie down. The villains, this might be hands down some of the worst assortment of villains.
Yeah.
In a Bond movie, definitely in the Connery era.
Oh yeah.
Which is weird, I think more might have a couple that might be slightly worse, including regular.
For the most part, Connery's villains are top notch.
Connery's villains are iconic. That's the thing. Connery's villains are iconic.
Yeah.
When you think about it, you think about the big villains in Bond movies. Who do you think of? Goldfinger, Blofeld, Largo. I mean, these Dr. are archetype villains. What's that?
Dr. No.
Dr. No. Yeah. These are archetype villains. So this is how you're going to close it out with the worst Blofeld. And then Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
Yeah, and it's like seriously, when you think about like all the things that Austin Powers parodies about villains, they all pretty much came from this movie. Like, do I want to shoot Bond, or do I want to put him into a situation where he can easily escape?
Several times over.
Yeah.
It's oh god. There's that scene where Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd knock him out, throw him in the pipe gets buried. Then, Bond has that conversation with the rat, which, by the way, is the most chemistry he exhibits with anybody in this movie, is just talking to that rat. Yeah. It's tough. The other thing that kills me about this movie, too, Connery.
Yeah.
He's so... I know this was... Because he had the break. He was done after Never Say Never Again. No. You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
And that he was done after that. They bring in Lazenby. Lazenby was going to do multiples, but stopped at the one.
Yeah.
And then...
and Lazenby wasn't as highly regarded. Like, everyone was like, wait, what happened to Connery? We missed Connery. Right. So they brought back the dump truck of money back up to Connery. He was like, I guess I can do it again.
Oh, I don't do it. I don't have to work out, do I? Because he certainly did not.
Oh, dude. I texted you this. The fight scene with Bambi and Thumper was just, it wasn't bad to watch. It was just sad to watch.
It was sad. It was just, it's the largest example of how old and out of shape he'd become.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to remember, because I think Zardoz came afterwards, and Zardoz with the weird red diaper that he was wearing. If you haven't seen that movie,
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's so messed up.
Which is exactly why I've never seen it.
Yeah. It's not good, but it's not good in a good way. I just feel like he was there. Okay, I'll rattle off a quip. Fine, I'll drive the car. He barely gets busy. One woman in this movie, I think, even though he does try to strangle a woman with her own bikini top.
Yeah. It's just Tiffany Chase that he gets on there with.
Yeah. And
multiple times, actually. So good for him.
Several times on that end. But it's just like, and like, I would really pay anything to find out what was going on in his head as he's doing those scenes where they're in the Nevada desert. He's riding along in that little moon buggy, and just the thought process of this: which house is this buying me?
So I'm doing this for how much money? Oh yeah,
that much
money.
Money.
Gas on.
Yeah, the whole thing was just that chase scene was ridiculous. Easily the worst in the Connery oeuvre of movies.
There was a lot. There's a lot. I mean,
the other thing too is that Bond, I feel like in this movie more than any other, Bond wasn't much of a spy in this movie. He was an errand boy in this movie. It was just retrieve the diamonds.
Yeah.
That's it. And because of that, I found that he was like, when somebody like went and kid, they were always able to get the upper hand on him because he wasn't doing anything to watch over his own shoulder. No. It was just like, I am conveniently not paying attention right now.
It's like, yeah, there's no way Tiffany is going to turn on me because I sexed her up. Yeah. Oh wait, she turned on me? What the hell?
Oh, bitch.
And I will say, the only thing I really liked about this was Jill St. John as Tiffany Chase. I liked her until that third act when she just kind of became like, you stupid bitch, you put in the wrong tape.
Yeah. The thing with her was, first of all, I found it refreshing that we don't have an international lady of mystery to deal with. I think this might have been his first like long running throughout the movie paramour, who was an American,
and who didn't get killed.
Who did not get killed. Yeah, I'll talk about the other one in a second. But she, The thing that I didn't care about with Tiffany Case was that I felt like she started off as one character, and then she was very serious. She was all business, and then just kind of turned into what we got at the end, where she's rattling off a machine gun, and it's just the recoil is like pushing her back, and she's basically ineffective.
Yeah, she starts off as Pussy Galore, and she ends as like Holly Goodnight.
Oh yeah, that's a great comparison. God, that movie, that will have to enter the conversation, but not until now.
Yeah, and like this Ziploc bag right here,
yeah,
her entire wardrobe could have been put in this Ziploc bag with room to spare.
This was an interesting movie because, yeah, this was really like the early 70s bikini look.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Totally fine with that look.
She pulled it off, but it's like,
yeah.
I mean, genuinely, I mean, like, eventually you got to put on some more clothes. Come on, people.
At some point.
Yeah.
Especially with the, with the tape, like, in her
bikini bottoms.
Exactly. Showing a little cheek. And then there was Plenty O'Toole. Oh my God, Natalie Wood's little sister could not act in this.
Oh, is that Natalie Wood's little sister?
Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting. All right, so here's an interesting little piece of trivia. So, Robert Wagner was married to Natalie Wood, okay? Mm-hmm. Natalie Wood, they were both on that boat where Natalie Wood fell off and drowned. Her sister, who played Plenty O'Toole, has always accused Robert Wagner of killing her, even though there's no evidence. There's always been speculation that he might have had something to do with it, but there's never been any evidence of that. Robert Wagner married Jill St. John.
Yeah, there's a delightful irony there. And how does Plenty O'Toole's character get killed in this movie?
Drowns.
And drowns in the pool.
Yep, she is drowned in a pool. So
and while being mistaken for
Black
Jill St. John's character.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting point out now. Okay, all you pervs out there. I believe this is the first shot of visible nipple in a Bond movie. She's wearing something very sheer, underwater, and I was just like, I'm watching, I'm like,
I have to go back and watch that scene.
just watch that scene and just the character itself was just kind of dumb. Gee, mister, you're really good at cards or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Hey, you gave me $5,000. Let's have sex.
Yeah, exactly. And then the gangster parodies come in.
Yeah. I threw her out.
You want me to mush this guy up?
I didn't know there was a pool down there. Oh.
Yeah. There is not a lot to like about this movie. It seems more episodic than anything else. It moves from scene to scene without actually having any connection to the scenes.
Yeah.
Bond's got to do this, then Bond's got to do that, then Bond's got to do every other damn thing.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but no Ford Mustang ever, at least not pre-2010, has ever been able to pull the curves and the maneuverability that Bond got out of that one. That was like that was probably like a Porsche with a Mustang shell put on it.
I don't know what the hell. Yeah, and even that car chase scene was just kind of like, it's a car chase scene, but
against a bunch of corrupt redneck cops.
Yeah. By the way, it's really weird that my full knowledge of Jimmy Dean is that he was a sausage salesman.
Yeah.
It's like I'm watching this movie. I'm like, I really want a breakfast sandwich right now. It's like Jim and Dean sausage and egg and biscuit sandwich. That's what I want right now. I want that biscuit sandwich.
You can get them at Hannaford.
I know I can. Yeah, I can. I can get those at Hannaford, can I? Mm-hmm. Last time I tried to microwave sausage, it did not turn out well because I did not time it well.
Oh,
Oh,
well, then that's kind of more on you than it is on
so
Jimmy.
it was, yeah, smoky in all the wrong ways. And I'm actually a good cook. But anyway,
Yes, you are.
this movie is just it's unremarkable in so many ways, and the only real things of note is what they got wrong in this movie. The weird thing is this isn't the worst James Bond movie by any.
No, I was about to say the same thing. It's like it's still not the worst Bond movie, but for Sean Connery, who started this Bond, he's still, for many people, me included, the most iconic Bond.
Yeah.
And to see him go out on like this whimper.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
It is sad. It really is sad.
I'm more disappointed than upset.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it, because this does usher us into the Moore era.
Where we got some high highs and some really low lows.
Oh, yes. We've got some reasonable all-time highs. But we also have those super lows. Like they are 8 miles below sea level lows.
Yeah.
Which will be covered.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say about Diamonds Are Forever. I really just
I will say I like this Shirley Bassey song a lot better than Goldfinger.
Okay, even though it essentially is Goldfinger.
Yeah. She's just not repeating she's got that, the Diamonds Are Forever, forever.
Yeah.
But it's still not, he likes gold, he likes gold, he likes gold.
You know what the sick thing is about like the 3 Shirley Bassey Bond songs are? The most original sounding comes from a movie that will no doubt be brought up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Take that what you will.
Yes, exactly. Feel free to do your own research on that one. So, that's all I got to say about this. I think this is going to be a quick one tonight because it's just, it's worth talking about in just how disappointing it is.
Yeah.
And
you were right about during Thunderbolt when you mentioned that they didn't mention Spectre after that. Yeah, this one, no mention of Spectre. It was all Blofeld.
Blofeld, and that's the thing. Blofeld in You Only Live Twice, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and this, it's just Blofeld, single. He's single and free. I'm trying to find love in the big city. I want a new terrorist.
Burned by Spectre too many times.
Am I ready to love another terrorist organization again? So, all right. So, folks, what are your thoughts on Diamonds Are Forever? Where does this rank in your all-time Bonds? Where does this rank in your worst Bonds? That might be the better question to ask. What sits above this in terms of the worst overall Bonds for you? I would be really genuinely interested to seeing that versus, it's like my 24th favorite Bond movie or my 18th favorite Bond movie. No. Let me know, where does it rank in your worst? That's what I want to know.
I would also like to know, is there anyone that genuinely enjoys this movie? And if so, then let us know why. Try to enlighten us, because for us, it's not doing it.
No, it's not, especially if you're comparing it to other Connery Bonds.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because I know they had the money for this one, and this one actually made them some money, considering that I believe You Only Live Twice did not do as well. Obviously, it didn't do nearly as well as Thunderball or Goldfinger did. Yeah, and then On Her Majesty's just did not do as well because of the change in character.
Yeah. I want to say You Only Live Twice was the first time that the profits for the Bond movie went down instead of up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they spent a lot. The money is definitely on that screen.
Yeah.
More so than this. They really kept this in one area for the entirety of the movie.
I do have one more thing to mention. and it's so nice to know that the epic, destruction of Blofeld has to do with Bond messing around with the crane.
Yeah.
No, put me down, you blithering idiot! It's like you don't realize that there's someone else controlling the control now. That's not coming into your mind at all.
Right, exactly. What if it was the real guy doing it too? Oh, you called me an idiot. I gotta put him down now. I'll probably get shot for this. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
So, yep. So we want to know, where does this rank in your least favorite Bond movies? Leave a polite comment below. Folks, well, thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on the replay or whatever, subscribe. We do this every week.
Yes.
Hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. Share this video with your friends, especially your Bond friends. I do want to point out, too, that our friends at the Spy Hard podcast just did Diamonds Are Forever. Now, I didn't listen to their podcast yet because I wanted to view and talk about this. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch them. So check them out. You can follow them at Spy Hards on Twitter. That'll give you all the information on where you can find their show at. And Mike and I, speaking of podcasts, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check us out wherever you get your podcast, be it Google Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify. I recently just switched all my listening over to Google Podcasts, mainly because of the stuff that's on iHeart. It's one place for everything. Funny story about that, but I'll tell you offline because that has nothing to do with anything here. Follow us on the social media on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. Check out the TeePublic store at tpublic.com, keyword Geek Salad Podcast. And also, check out our latest episode. We just released it yesterday, where we talk all about the Star Wars Bounty Hunters. Very fun conversation. Yeah. Very happy to have that. So, I think that's it for me, Mike.
Do we know what we're doing next week?
That's a good question. So let me ask. Mike and I are just going to have a little powwow right here. Are we moving to more, or do you want to do Lazenby?
Well, I may as well do Lazenby. Keep it relatively real on our shoulder.
So stay tuned. So we're going back one movie, and we're going to be chronologically speaking, we are going back one movie, and we are going to be talking about the Soul George Lazenby Bond movie on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I remember liking this movie more than him.
Yeah, so I remember not liking this movie nearly as much.
We'll see if both opinions still hold, or if either of us have swayed. If anyone gets swayed, it's probably going to be me. So, anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. Talk